You're here. Welcome to the Masterminding Success podcast. They say if you want to be successful in business and in life, then surround yourself with successful people. So pull up a seat. The mastermind is about to begin.
Hey, glad you could join us for another episode of the Masterminding Success podcast. We're your hosts, Keith Wheeler.
And Nuria Colby.
And what are we talking about today, Nuria?
Today is another interesting topic, and the title is this a business or a lemonade stand? So I think we know what we mean by that, don't we?
Yeah. It's, it really comes down to, when you were a kid and you had a lemonade stand, usually your parents or somebody gave you the money to get the stuff. And then when you made the money, you went out and you spent it on candy or toys or books or whatever. And it's not like you went back and reinvested it in the lemonade stand. You didn't go and buy more product or anything like that. And so that's kind of what we mean by, is this a business or a lemonade stand? Really, are you investing back in your business? Or are you just reaping the benefits of it and then, using that money to do other things? And there's not necessarily a right or wrong, at least to me, a right or wrong answer to that. It's just something you need to think about and make a conscious decision of.
Absolutely. I think that in some ways, when I saw the topic, I also thought, oh, a lemonade stand sounds fun, because I remember that, it's the kind of thing that you do for fun rather than
fun, right?
For if you make a bit of money, great. But,
Right.
and I think sometimes people approach their business a bit like that as well. They kind of like to do the fun bits, but they don't really do the bits that are not so fun.
Right.
And I think in business you have to be prepared that it's definitely not a lot of fun half of the time, and you do need to reinvest and you need to build your business, and it's hard work. Like I always say, people want to escape the 9 to 5 by having their own business, and they end up working 24/7, which
Right.
is what happens in the end. And having a business versus a lemonade stand, you do spend a lot more time running your business, and more importantly, what you just said, do you reinvest in your business? Do you think about what happens to your business tomorrow and the day after? Whereas a lemonade
Right.
stand is one day only and that's it. But your business is, you want it to go on and to grow. So it's very, very different. But some
Yeah.
people treat it like a lemonade stand almost.
Yeah. And I think it really comes down to what are your goals for your business? Uh, or your lemonade stand. Is it just to, I just want to publish this book again, like you said, you enjoy it. It's, there's a story you've got in your head that you want to write, or maybe a journal you want to create, and you want to do it and you want to get it up there. You want to say you're published, and that's it, and if it makes money, great. If it doesn't, then that's fine too. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, you can't go in with those goals or lack thereof and then expect to make thousands of dollars a month. It's you have to set realistic expectations based on what your goals are, if you have goals. If not, really should make them. And again, what your plan is for your business. Is it something that you want to do long term? Is it something you want to eventually quit your day job and do it as a full, proper business? Or is it, again, just something you just want to publish this one and that's it, and that's, and if you make money from it, that's great. That's extra, money to buy coffee or whatever, but you're not really going to put much thought into it other than that. Again, that's fine. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but again, making sure that you align your expectations with the output that you're putting in there.
Yeah.
You can't expect to be making a lot of money if you're just, putting it up, publishing and praying. If you're not, didn't really put a lot of forethought into the product, did you look into the niche? Did you look into what the audience for that type of book is looking for? That kind of stuff. If you didn't put any of that into it, and you don't plan on doing any kind of promotions or marketing or anything like that, then in that case, it probably is just something like a lemonade stand which can still make you some money. I know plenty of people who, create one book or a couple books, publish it up there. They don't do anything else with it. And it makes them, 20, 30, maybe even $100 a month. And if that's okay with you, that's fine. But again, I really think it comes down to setting those expectations and making sure that they're aligned.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head there as well. And especially, I mean, there's different ways you can create a business. And when I think about our business publishing, and we teach how to do it on YouTube and all that. And we do get feedback from people sometimes. And I kind of think there are two groups of people. There are the people that do this full time, that are really going all in and doing this. But there are also lots of people who are just starting out and they're giving it a try. They've got another job and they're doing this on the side, or they only have very limited time to do this. And of course, it's going to be very different if you have more time to spend on this business. And I remember someone made a comment on the lines of, oh, I've done exactly what you say you do. I've done exactly the same, followed everything you said, and I haven't made any money. And, this is it's all not true. I think there's, it's all made up or whatever.
Rubbish,
and, yeah. And that made me think, because I feel bad when people say that, because obviously the whole reason I started doing this is because I want people to get an income from this like I did.
Right.
And, it made me think, and I thought, well, have they done what I have done? Because maybe they haven't, because I've spent so many hours on this, and I was lucky that I had my husband supporting us when I first started, which a lot of people don't have. A lot of people have to have a job on the side. I mean, I did do that at the beginning, but then after a while, I didn't, I spent more time doing this and relied on my husband to support us. But, not everybody has that kind of support. And I wonder, sometimes you can't have a business. You end up with a lemonade stand, and that is fine as well. It's just like you said earlier, your expectations have to then be different. You can't expect to have the same success as somebody who has put in so much work and maybe money into it as well. Because I remember in the beginning, I never used to spend any money because I hadn't made any money. So I couldn't advertise, I couldn't promote it in any other way. I couldn't invest in tools, which was the other thing. I couldn't invest in images or in anything, editors, whatever. That's all things that you can do once you actually make some money. And of course, then it gets bigger and bigger and better. But you're not there from the beginning. So it will be a lemonade stand when you start, unfortunately. And it's how you deal with it once you made that start and once you get to a certain level. Do you continue treating it as a lemonade stand, or do you then treat it as a business? That's the only way I can sort of relate to it from my own experience. But I imagine yours has been very similar, I guess.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the business versus lemonade stand, I think the biggest thing just comes down to your mindset. And I know we talk about mindset a lot on this channel, but even if you don't have the money, even if you don't have the time, what do you want to do? What do you want to create? It may be, as far as time that you can put in there and everything else, it might be more like a lemonade stand. But is your plan for it to be a business? It may take you years to get to that, the official business of it. But going in there and having your mindset from the beginning that this is what I want to do. I eventually want this to be a business. Now you could plan for it to be a business and you get into it, a month, 6 months, whatever, and you decide that, I don't want that to be my business. That's fine. You can change your plans. But I really think that having that mindset to begin with and knowing going in, what do I plan on doing? Do I plan on building this up to something, which I guess is what it really comes down to? Or do I just plan on, publishing it, whatever I get from it, I get from it. As far as what you were saying before about, people saying that, I've done exactly what you've done. And and I'm not seeing the results, and so it must be hogwash. I have two answers to that. One is kind of what you already said, which is the way I would put it is you haven't done, chances are you haven't done everything that I've done. You've just done everything you've seen me do. You know,
That's very
you've,
true.
you know, I put up, a 20-minute video a week.
Mm.
I put more than 20 minutes into, first of all, I put more than 20 minutes into creating that video. Second of all, I put more than 20 minutes a week into my business. And so you're only seeing snapshots of what we do. And so so that would be the first part. And the second thing is no offense, but we don't need another Nuri Corby out there. We need another, we need a
Yeah.
like there's no sense in making copying everything I do. I mean, that's actually one reason why most of the books I publish now are not under my own name,
Yeah.
is because people were doing just that. They were making copies of it and they weren't selling, because if you make a copy of something that's already out there and already has reviews, why would somebody buy the one that's newer, it looks exactly the same or similar, and has less reviews? They wouldn't. You have to make your content different. And the
Yeah.
same thing is, I know we talk about books a lot, but any kind of business, I talk about, restaurants a lot because I used to manage a restaurant, but, there's plenty of burger spots out there, but typically, I mean, even Burger King, McDonald's, they're different. The type of food. I mean, it's the same type of food, but they taste different. You know what I mean? It's presented differently. So they didn't just make another McDonald's; they made something different. And so when you do that, when we get comments like that, I feel bad, because I'm like, I guess I didn't make it clear what you should, why I'm creating these videos. I'm not creating these videos for you to be another me. My wife will tell you, we don't need another me, but it's to help you learn from
Yeah.
my past experiences, learn from my mistakes so you don't make them,
Yeah.
learn from my successes so you make them faster.
Mm.
So you end up, I mean, I love it when I get messages either in emails or on the channel or whatever, where people tell me that I've got people that make more than I do. And I love that, and, because it's like, I was able to be a part of that. I'm not taking any credit away from what they did, but that's kind of the goal of doing the videos that we do.
Yeah.
It's to get you to where I'm at or better faster. That way you don't have to be doing this for, almost a decade before you're seeing the results that I see.
Yeah. You've just said everything that I could say about the subject, because
All right, we're done. No.
that was spot on. That was really spot on. Yeah. And it's exactly what you said. We're doing this. We made so many mistakes, so you don't have to.
Right.
And it's what you said as well. We're only showing you a very, very small part of what we're doing,
Right.
because, I mean, it looks to many people when they watch one of my videos, for example, and for you probably the same, it looks like we just started this and now we're making all this money, and that is really not the case. It's taken us years to
Right.
get to where we are now, and not just in KDP, but the years that went before that.
Right.
When I remember when I was blogging, that I count that as part of this business, because it taught me so many things that I needed to know to be successful now. So yeah, it does take years. And when someone says to us, well, I've started a month ago and I haven't made any sales, so this is rubbish. And then, of course, that's not going to work. You can't. The funny thing is, when I first started this, when I watched my first videos on how to make low content books, and I remember it was your channel, it was Rebecca Holman's channel, it was Kelly, it was all the people that I watched. To me, that seemed like, oh wow, this is so exciting. I never once thought that I wouldn't be able to do something like that. My expectations, not that they were really high, but I didn't see any reason why I couldn't. And
Right.
if I didn't have the tools to do something, or I didn't have the money to do something, I found a way around that. And I think you kind of have to have that attitude that if somebody else is doing it, there's no reason why you can't do it. It might take you a long time, but it will
Hmm.
definitely happen if you have the will to do it.
Right.
And that's the only thing I can put it down to. I was probably really stubborn and thought, no, I'm going to do this,
Right.
and I did it, and I found a way around it. And I think coming back to our subject, is this a business or a lemonade stand? When you run a business, you're going to have to find lots of ways to do things that aren't easy to do, but you have to find a way round to doing it anyway.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of people give up. They
Hmm.
they kind of feel, nah, this is not really as easy as I thought it would be. And then we're back to the lemonade stand. It's not a
Right.
lemonade stand. It is a business. So yeah, I think this has really shown me sort of my journey, because I did start with a lemonade stand when I
Right.
think about it, and it kind of grew from there. But I quickly realized that it's a business and you have to kind of do the kind of things to grow it. Even from the beginning, when I started earning, I never took that money and spent it on something for myself. I reinvested everything
Right.
in the business for about a year. So
Hmm.
there was no money coming out of the business for my electricity bill or for my gas bill. As I
Right.
said, my husband supported us doing that. So I didn't spend a penny on personal items. It was all back into the business. I started buying tools to get better at it.
Right.
I started running ads after a year. That took a lot of
Mm.
money.
Yeah.
So yeah, but as you spend, you learn, and you just grow your business that way. So the lemonade stand has long gone, and it depends how you treat it, like
Yeah.
you explained so well earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. It really, like I said, it really comes down to, for me, it comes down to that mindset, like just hitting that switch. And because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter the size of your
Mm.
business, you know, I mean, again, getting back to, the restaurant analogy, there are people that don't have the money to create, to go out and open a physical business, a physical restaurant. But what they'll do, if they have a passion for baking, they'll start making things at home and
Yeah.
selling them online.
Yeah.
And then, then maybe they'll get a food truck. And then maybe, so again, but how are they able to afford that food truck? They invest it back in their
Mm.
business, and I understand that, bills pile up and
Mm.
bills get high. And so I'm not saying, I'm not unrealistic. I'm not saying that, you were lucky that you were able to invest 100% back in. Not
Mm.
everybody can do that,
No.
but
Mm.
if you, again, it comes down to having a plan. If you plan to, whatever you get back, I'm investing 75% back in, 25% I'm keeping for, the household or whatever. That's
Yeah.
fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, as long as you're consistent, as long as you have a plan, and as long as you have, that mindset that, this is what I want for the future.
Yeah.
It may take you longer to get there.
Mm.
If you're able to invest 100% back in for a year, obviously you have a much better chance of getting there faster than if you're only investing 25% in.
Mm.
It's going to take you longer to get there, but you can still get there,
Mm.
and you can still see that progress. And I've found that by having that mindset of it being a business, and by having goals and having set a plan, like I said, whether it's, I'm keeping 25%, or maybe I can only afford to invest 25% in, I
Mm.
can see that increasing over time because
Yeah.
I'm being consistent. And
Yeah.
so it really, I mean, I think, again, it comes down to mindset. It comes down to having goals, which, again,
Mm.
one could argue is still part of mindset. It's all something that you have complete control over, and you can
Yeah.
change it whenever you want. But
Mm.
again, if you're changing, as you change it, your expectations should change accordingly. You should, again, you can't expect, if you're not putting a lot into it, that you're going to get a whole bunch out. Could you be one of the lucky ones that do? Absolutely. And I hope you are.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. And I'll tell you from experience, I don't think I want to be.
Mm.
Because I wouldn't have learned everything I learned if I happened to have come out with a unicorn and just started making money right off the bat.
Yeah.
because if I had, then I would have thought, oh, this is easy, this is normal. And
Yeah.
then I wouldn't have learned everything I've learned by, trial and error. And I've made way more mistakes than I've made successes. And, but that all let, and I don't regret any of them because that all led me to where I am.
Absolutely. So true. Same here. And I think that sometimes I wonder, when we make YouTube videos and we're showing people how to do this and that, and
Mhm.
sometimes I think, wow, in a short video, because obviously we don't have videos going on for hours,
Right.
in a short video, it almost sounds like it's so easy to do, and that is never really the intention behind
Right.
it. And I think
Right.
many people watch YouTube videos and they think, oh, it's really easy to do this because they've just explained it in 10 minutes. And I think that is where, I don't blame, and I would say that because I'm a YouTuber, but I don't always
Mhm.
blame the YouTuber for doing that. It's the kind of expectation of the person watching. I've never watched a video of someone showing me how to upload or how to do a low content book, and I thought, oh, I can do that in 10 minutes. I kind of knew it wouldn't, it would take me longer than
Right.
that.
Right.
I didn't expect it, but a lot of people do expect it to be very easy when they see it like that, condensed in a 20-minute video.
Right.
And that is not the case. I think any business, whatever business, it doesn't matter if it's online or whatever, it takes time to learn. It takes time to build. It takes time to settle. There's just time is something that you just, unless you win the lottery, there is no way to make money really quickly. Not in my experience. I don't know. Some
Right.
people might be that lucky, but
Mhm.
that's rare, I think.
Right. Well,
Um,
and I mean, yeah, I mean, I would agree with all of that. It's even with the whole analogy that you used about, winning the lottery, but again, many times people who win the lottery end up spending all the money because
mm,
they didn't learn anything. They didn't learn how to
yeah,
grow it, how to invest it, how to, you know what I mean? Um, and so again, it's kind of that whole mentality that I really don't want it to be. First of all, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
mm,
But it it also doesn't help when you have these people trying to sell you a course or whatever and say that you can make this kind of money this fast,
mm,
you know, you know,
yeah, yeah,
because like you said, I mean, you may put up a video that's 20 minutes long and you've made it look really easy, but who knows how long it took you to create that video,
mm,
and most of the time, sometimes I do it, but most of the time on mine, I don't have like a time that shows you, where I like speed it up. I'll just show you it,
mm,
it done. But even that, even if you're watching me do it live, even I've been doing it for almost a decade.
mm,
It's not necessarily what you can do now, but it's to show you what's possible.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
when you put hardware, you don't see the amount of hours we spend, daily working on something.
Mm.
It's the 4-hour work days and things like that. Those are few and far between for me. Um,
Yeah.
there are days that I do that, but then I make up for it on other days. It's kind of like being on salary, they'll get the hours out of you one way or another. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, do I think it's worth it? Absolutely. And I've said it numerous times on this podcast that I the biggest difference I've seen in people that are successful in business in general and those that aren't are one, the ones that aren't quit before they became successful, and also the ones that are successful are able to pivot when things don't go the way you wanted them to go.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily going to go the way you plan it. Very seldom will, but you should still learn from things, whether it's a mistake or a success, learn and grow from it from a business perspective. And then that's how you go from, that again, that's a difference between someone who hasn't reached success yet and those that have is,
Yeah.
I mean, where I started and where I'm at in my business are, almost a complete 180, but again, I've learned so much along the way, and it really comes down to that, to still having that mindset that it is a business It's a lot easier to step away from a lemonade stand than it is to step away from a business that you've invested in.
That is very true. That is maybe one of the best ways to know if you've got a lemonade stand or a business, because it's very difficult to step away from a business.
Right.
But yeah, again, you made some really good points. It's the journey that you make to get here. That is, and I agree with what you said about the experience. You wouldn't want to be without that now. You wouldn't want to just win the lottery. And a funny thing is, sometimes I've said that to my husband. I said, I don't know if I want to win the lottery. And he kind of, you wouldn't expect someone to say that. But it's a bit like, I don't know if you ever used to play The Sims, that game where you have to make a character and you buy a house and you get a job, you buy a house, you do this, you do that, get married, have children. When I used to play that game, and I used to love it, and when I got to the point where it couldn't go anywhere, I stopped. And I kind of feel that life is the same. Once you have everything and there's nothing else to learn, nothing else to strive for, then what is it all about? It's kind of pointless then and meaningless. So I'm glad that we're in a business where we can learn constantly and we can scale it. And, it's the journey. I think, it's so true when they said it's not the destination, it's the journey really that matters.
Right.
And that, to me, that is what a business is. It's, it should be growing. It should be something you can work on. It should be something that you make many mistakes in, because you have to fail, otherwise you don't know how to. It's a bit like that saying, like if you lost everything, you wouldn't start from scratch, you would start from experience. And I think that is very true now. I think that I'm at a point now where if everything disappeared now that I've built up, it wouldn't worry me as much as 10 years ago, because I know what to do. I think that's very important. And I don't know, I think that's the difference between a business and a lemonade stand. It's not something you can walk away from easily.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's a great way to tell if your business right now, like if you don't know, is it a business or is it a lemonade stand? Ask yourself that question, how easy is it to walk away from, and then if you don't like the answer to it, if you're like, oh, it could be easy to walk away, well then, but you want it to be a business, well then that right there has answered your question. What can you do now to make it a business? Maybe it's not something that you really enjoy. I've seen a lot of people who see these ads and hear that, that this business, whatever it is, whether it's print on demand or being an author or being a YouTuber, whatever, that it's super easy. And then so they jump into it, and then they find out that it's not easy, and they find out that they don't really enjoy it, and so it's easy to walk away. Well, then that was just a lemonade stand. What business would you like to create? And maybe you don't want to create a business, and that's completely fine too. Not everybody. My wife has no desire to run a business. She's like, that's all you have fun with it. And I do. But yeah, I mean, and that's completely fine. But again, it really comes down to just setting your expectations. If it's a lemonade stand, then, if you've got a YouTube channel and you're not putting a lot of time into it, then you can't really expect a lot from it. And as long as you have that one-to-one relationship with it, and, that you understand that, what I put in is, well, first of all, with a business, what you put in, especially to begin with, is not going to be nearly what you get back. You're going to get back a fraction of it. And so, again, knowing that if you're okay with that, well, then it's a business, and you've got a much better chance of success. You got a much better chance that you're not going to quit, because you have the right mindset going into it.
Yeah. I think that actually has cleared a few bits up for me as well, because I'm now thinking that I walked away from my lemonade stand, and my lemonade stand was the blogging business that I wanted to build, which in turn brought me to publishing. And so I don't regret one bit about it, but it was hard, and I gave myself a year, and it just wouldn't wouldn't get off the ground. And I thought it was something that I would really enjoy, and I did to begin with. But thinking back now, I can see where I went wrong. And I think, first of all, I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoy this. And second, I didn't have the knowledge that I have now. Whereas if I went back to that now, I know where I went wrong. I know what I should change about it now. And it's quite strange actually to think of it that way, because in hindsight, you can see the mistakes and you can see,
Right.
and at the time, I just didn't see it. And I
Right.
know that's how many people feel right now. They're starting publishing on Amazon KDP, or they're starting whatever business,
Hmm.
and they're not really getting there. And to be honest, it's fine. It probably means that you do need to start something else, and then later maybe you get back to it. But you need to gain a different perspective as well. And I think that's what mine did by publishing. I kind of gained a better perspective on what I was doing before, which is good now because I could go back to it. But I don't know. I think it's just really interesting. I've enjoyed this subject. It's quite,
Yeah, me too. Me too.
yeah,
And we can talk about it on another episode, because that actually made me think is, people uh could listen to this podcast and then be asking themselves, okay, so should I stop doing what I'm doing,
yeah.
or should I just, work harder at it?
Mm,
And so I don't want to I mean, I can make this, a lot longer of an episode, but I would say really it comes down to, what, like I said, what your mindset is, is this a business that you're willing to put, you know, invest in, and not just money, invest your time into it. You know, if you don't enjoy it, and like you said at the beginning of this, there are going to be aspects of any business you're not going to enjoy. I
yeah.
personally do not enjoy the the paying the bills part, where I have to,
Yes.
I do have employees, virtual assistants, cover designers, all that, that I do have to pay. And so, that's one aspect I don't like. Doing the taxes at the end of the year, that's one I don't like, you know, but there are definitely aspects that I do like, and what I like definitely outweighs what I don't like. And it did that from the beginning. That's something that, some people may think, oh, well, that's going to change once I start making a lot of money. No, if you don't enjoy it from the beginning,
Mm,
you're not going to want to invest time. You're not going to want to invest money into it. And
yeah.
so if that's the case, and again, we could do a whole nother episode on, when is it time to walk away? But I would say that would be a huge red flag if you don't enjoy it, at all.
Mm, definitely. I couldn't agree more. And that was something I thought about because someone actually asked me, should I walk away from this? Um, and it's so hard for me to answer because I haven't been in their shoes. I don't
Right, right,
know
right.
what their background is. And I think everybody needs to make that decision for themselves. But I think what you just said is quite an important part of that, and that is if you don't really enjoy it, or if there's a lot of it that you don't enjoy and only enjoy a small part, then maybe it is time to do something that you enjoy more, because
Right,
the things that you enjoy more are usually the things that you get better at.
right,
So
right,
for me, that would be one of my guidelines. If I don't enjoy something, don't do it, you
right.
know.
Right. And there's ways to take, to again still learn from your mistakes. So,
Mm,
if you create a business, and again, I don't want to jump into this topic because it could be a whole nother episode, but if you have a business that you're doing and you're just not enjoying it, you don't enjoy any aspect of it, there is way, or you don't enjoy 90% of it, there's ways to kind of pivot and see, okay, maybe there is something that I enjoy more. And so it's not, again, it's like you were saying before, it's not like you're starting at ground zero. You're starting at,
yeah,
at having knowledge and having wisdom from what didn't work,
yeah,
and so yeah, that's definitely something that we should talk about in the future. But
definitely.
yeah, I mean, I think again, the big thing about lemonade stand versus business really again comes down to, I don't personally think that there's anything wrong with having a lemonade stand at
Mm,
all. But again, you shouldn't have a lemonade stand with the expectations of getting the results that a business would give you. You know, again, you have to make sure that you have, and that's the best way of not getting disappointed. If you have realistic expectations, then you can't get disappointed, because realistically, I've only, I just created this one book. It took me like, a couple hours to do. I'm not really putting any money into it. I'm not going to promote it. You get $20 back. Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
But again, having that expectation that I'm not expecting much, and then you get $20, that's a big deal. But if you're expecting to get 1,000 and you get $20, then you're disappointed. So
Yeah.
again, it really comes down to just asking yourself realistically, how am I approaching this quote business? Am I approaching it like a business, or am I approaching it like a lemonade stand?
Yeah.
And then you can, if that's not the answer you like, then you can change it. But again, how you're approaching it should align with what your expectations are.
Couldn't agree with you more, Keith.
Well, this has been another great Mastermind, Nuria. Once again, a huge thank you to all our listeners and viewers who came to tag along. If you enjoyed today's Mastermind, please consider following or subscribing to the podcast, and maybe even leave us a review and let us know what you thought. Until next week, I'm Keith Wheeler.
And I'm Nuria Corby.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining the Mastermind today. Be sure to follow the podcast on your platform of choice and tell a friend who would enjoy it too. Your support is greatly appreciated. This has been the Masterminding Success Podcast.